What happens when the most composed woman in American television history sits down on a stage known for explosive confrontations and blistering debates? What happens when the queen of calm, the icon of generosity, the symbol of measured grace, suddenly loses her cool on live television? Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to Talk Flair, hit that like button, and drop a comment the moment anything shocks you. Because trust me, you're about to witness a moment no one saw coming. It began like any ordinary morning on The View. The studio lights glowed warm, the audience buzzed with anticipation, and the hosts settled into their chairs with coffee mugs neatly aligned. But the energy shifted the moment Oprah Winfrey stepped onto the stage. Not just because she was Oprah, the Oprah, but because there was something in the air around her. A tension, a pressure, a storm that seemed to follow her silhouette across the set. Even Whoopi Goldberg, usually unfazed, leaned back with visible caution as Oprah approached the table. It wasn't fear, but it was awareness. Everyone knew Oprah had been under intense scrutiny lately. Rumors swirling, headlines multiplying, opinions firing from all directions. And now, here she was, sitting beneath studio lights instead of the comfort of her own interview chair. The audience applauded wildly. Oprah smiled, gracious, warm, iconic. But her eyes flashed with something no one could quite place. As the applause faded and cameras zoomed in, Joy Behar leaned forward with her signature smirk. "Oprah, we're thrilled to have you. There's a lot people want to hear from you today." Oprah folded her hands slowly. "I'm sure there is." Her tone was polite, but something in it prickled the air. Sunny Hostin spoke next, adjusting her cards. "You've been trending nonstop. People have been questioning decisions you've made recently. Some even say you're out of touch. Do you want to respond to that?" It was subtle, but Oprah inhaled sharply. Almost imperceptibly. Almost. Then she smiled again. "Sunny, I've been in media for over 3 decades. Being called out of touch is hardly the worst thing someone has thrown at me." The audience chuckled nervously. Whoopi chimed in. "But it's different this time, Oprah. These critics, they're not just random folks online. These are people who used to admire you." The temperature on the stage rose. Not literally, but emotionally, palpably. Oprah's fingers tightened around her mug. The camera caught it. Millions would later pause the footage and analyze the moment frame by frame. "I'm aware," Oprah said. "Believe me, I'm very aware of what people are saying." Joy raised a brow. "And does it bother you?" There was a pause. A silence thick enough to swallow the audience whole. Oprah stared at Joy, her eyes narrowing just slightly. "Everyone here knows," Oprah said slowly, "that public scrutiny is part of the job. But what bothers me is when people assume they understand my intentions better than I do." The audience murmured. Joy leaned forward. "So, are we wrong for questioning you? Is that what you're saying?" Oprah leaned forward too, and something shifted in her posture. Something sharper, something that carried decades of repressed frustration. "I'm saying that some of the questions have crossed into disrespect." The audience gasped quietly. Whoopi blinked. Sunny adjusted her glasses. A camera operator swore they saw a producer freeze behind the glass. Joy didn't miss a beat. "Oprah, no one here is trying to disrespect you. But you've made choices that people want answers for. Isn't that fair?" Oprah didn't blink. "Fair is relative." Whoopi interjected, hands up. "Let's clarify. What exactly feels disrespectful to you?" Oprah finally broke eye contact with Joy and turned slightly toward Whoopi. "It's the way people speculate about my motives. As if I haven't earned the right to be given the benefit of the doubt after all these years." It should have been a calm statement, but there was fire underneath it. Fire no one was used to seeing from Oprah. Sunny took a breath, choosing her words with the caution of someone tiptoeing around explosives. "Some of the public criticism is harsh, yes, but some of it is from people who say they feel disappointed." The word hung like smoke. Oprah's jaw tightened. "Disappointed," she repeated. "Sunny, people are disappointed in presidents, in leaders, in institutions. But disappointed in me? As if I owe them something beyond what I've already given." Her voice didn't rise, but it thickened with intensity. Joy leaned back, but her eyes were locked in. "Oprah, when you're a public figure, people feel connected to you. They feel like they know you. So when you do things they don't expect, they think they're entitled to an explanation," Oprah finished sharply. The audience reacted, soft gasps, whispers, shifting seats. Joy pressed on. "They think they deserve transparency." Oprah snapped her head back toward Joy. And in that moment, just a flicker, her composure cracked. Her eyes hardened. Her breathing deepened. The calm, soothing Oprah persona. The one the world trusted. The one who built an empire on empathy and connection, began to slip. And what about me? Oprah said, voice trembling with emotion. What about what I deserve? What about the years I've spent being everyone's emotional anchor? What about the weight I've carried that no one ever asks about? Silence swallowed the set. A deep, pulsing silence. Even Whoopi's eyes went wide. Oprah, Whoopi whispered. You okay? Oprah laughed, not humorously but sharply. Am I okay? Do you know how many times people have asked me that in the past month? 0. Because people don't care if I'm okay. They just want me to explain myself. Joy's jaw tightened. We're not attacking you. Oprah's voice rose, not yelling, but rising with a heat the audience had never witnessed. It feels like you are. It feels like everyone is. The audience erupted in murmurs. A producer signaled frantically for the hosts to move on. The camera zoomed closer to Oprah's face, catching the anger, the exhaustion, the hurt, raw and unfiltered. Sunny spoke softly. Oprah, what's really going on? For a moment, Oprah didn't answer. She looked down. Her shoulders trembled slightly. The audience leaned in, breathless. Then she lifted her head and whispered, voice thick. I'm tired. The studio froze. Oprah Winfrey, global icon of strength, just said she was tired. Joy softened. We get tired too, Oprah. Oprah's expression darkened again. No, Joy. Not like this. The moment was electric, dangerous, unpredictable, and it was only the beginning. The air inside the studio felt heavier than before, as if the walls themselves were leaning in to hear what Oprah would say next. The audience, normally loud and reactive, sat frozen in their seats, eyes wide, hands clasped, breaths almost synchronized. The camera operators looked toward the producers for direction, but the producers weren't giving any. Their eyes were locked on Oprah, just like everyone else's. Whoopi cleared her throat gently. Oprah, when you say not like this, what do you mean? Oprah took a long breath, the kind you take right before saying something you've been holding in for far too long. She lifted her eyes toward Whoopi, and there was a glimmer there, of pain, of anger, of exhaustion, of years of carrying expectations that could break a lesser person. I mean, Oprah said quietly but sharply, that the world expects me to be unshakable. Every day, every hour, every minute. I'm supposed to be a symbol, not a person. Joy nodded slowly, cautiously. Oprah, with respect, you are a symbol. For a lot of people. And that's the problem, Oprah snapped, her voice slicing through the air like a blade. I'm a symbol when it benefits people. I'm a symbol when they need inspiration. But the moment I make a choice they don't agree with, suddenly I'm the villain. Murmurs rippled through the audience, some agreeing, some stunned. Sunny leaned in, her tone gentle. Oprah, no one here wants you to feel attacked. We want to understand what's going on inside you. Oprah let out a bitter laugh. Inside me? Sunny, if I opened up everything inside me, this show would be canceled before the commercial break. Whoopi widened her eyes. That bad? That real? Oprah said. Joy folded her arms, trying to regain control of the segment. Look, Oprah, The View is a place for open conversation. Nobody's here to cancel you. Oh, really? Oprah shot back. Because from where I'm sitting, it feels like you're all waiting for me to admit something I didn't do, apologize for something I didn't mean, or take responsibility for a narrative that isn't mine. Joy's eyes narrowed. We're asking because people want clarity. That's all. Oprah's voice rose, trembling with pent-up fury. People don't want clarity, Joy. They want someone to blame. The audience gasped. Whoopi leaned back, exhaling deeply. Oprah, I've known you a long time. I've never seen you like this. And that's because I've always held it together, Oprah said, her voice breaking for just a moment. For decades, I've held it together. For my audience. For my network. For my name. For everyone who ever needed me to be calm when they couldn't be. She pressed a hand to her chest. But no one ever asked what that cost me. Silence. A silence so deep you could hear the hum of the studio lights. Joy softened now, her voice losing its earlier edge. So tell us, what does it cost you? Oprah hesitated, as if standing at the edge of a cliff. I've spent years carrying people's pain, she said slowly. Helping them heal, guiding them, comforting them. And somewhere along the way, I forgot to take care of myself. A woman in the audience clutched her chest. Another covered her mouth. This wasn't Oprah the icon. This was Oprah the human being, cracked open on daytime television. Whoopi spoke quietly. That sounds lonely. Oprah closed her eyes. It is, Sunny whispered. So why choose today to let it out? Oprah opened her eyes again, and there was fire behind them. Because today, she said, I'm done pretending everything is okay. The room erupted in stunned gasps. And just like that, the storm inside Oprah Winfrey began to break. The silence after Oprah's declaration was deafening. Not the kind of silence that follows drama on television. This was deeper, heavier. It was the kind of silence that made even the crew shift uncomfortably, as if afraid the slightest sound might shatter Oprah's fragile calm and unleash something even more explosive. Joy Behar broke the tension first, though her voice trembled more than she intended. Oprah, you've been carrying this alone? All this time. Oprah's eyes flicked to Joy, and for the first time, the anger in them softened. Yes. And you know why, Joy? Because people don't want to see me struggle. They want Oprah, the fixer, the hero, the guide. They want the woman who always has the right words. They don't want the woman who feels overwhelmed, or hurt, or human. Sunny clasped her hands together. But you are human, and you're allowed to feel overwhelmed. Oprah shook her head. Not in the eyes of the public. Not when you've built a brand on strength and compassion. She exhaled sharply. Do you know what it feels like to have millions of people dissect your every move? Every decision? Every facial expression? To be told you're losing touch when all you're trying to do is protect the parts of yourself you haven't given away yet. The audience murmured again. Many nodded. Some looked heartbroken. Whoopi leaned forward, speaking carefully. Oprah, if you're feeling this much pressure, maybe this is the time for you to share your truth. Not the polished version. Not the spokesperson-approved version. The real one. Oprah blinked, staring at Whoopi for a long moment. And then, slowly, she shook her head. The real truth, she said quietly. The real truth would scare people. Joy frowned. Scare them how? Oprah laughed, a low, exhausted, haunted laugh. Because people want honesty until it becomes uncomfortable. They want openness until it forces them to confront their own expectations. If I told the world how much weight I've been carrying, how close I've been to breaking, they wouldn't know what to do with that. Sunny tilted her head. But they might understand you better. They would judge me more, Oprah replied sharply. That's what people do. Her voice cracked on that last word. People. And she quickly steadied herself, lifting her chin as if forcing her composure back into place. Joy softened her tone. Oprah, no one on this table wants to tear you down. We're just trying to make sense of what's happening right now. What's happening, Oprah said, her voice rising again, is that I'm finally admitting I'm tired of being the world's emotional foundation. The audience erupted in heavy murmurs, reacting, processing, empathizing. Oprah continued, her voice trembling with rage and vulnerability intertwined. People think I'm made of steel, that I don't bend, that I don't break. But I'm tired, Joy. I'm tired of being held to a standard no human being can maintain. Whoopi reached out, placing a hand gently on the table near Oprah's. Then why not step back? Take time. Oprah's eyes filled with something sharp. Fear? Anger? Vulnerability? It was impossible to tell. Because if I step back now, the narrative becomes that I cracked. That I couldn't handle the criticism. That maybe the public was right about me losing my way. And I refused to give them that. Sunny whispered, This sounds like a battle you can't win. Oprah turned toward her, gaze burning. It's the battle I have to win. Then, in a voice just above a whisper, Oprah added, Because if I don't keep fighting, I don't know who I am anymore. A collective gasp rippled through the room. Someone in the audience audibly whispered, Oh my God. And as the cameras zoomed in, Oprah, iconic, powerful, seemingly untouchable Oprah, looked more fragile than anyone had ever seen her. The storm hadn't passed. It was only getting stronger. The tension inside the studio had shifted into something deeper. Something raw and electric, like the air just before lightning splits the sky. Oprah sat at the table, hands trembling slightly, though she kept them close enough together that most people might not notice. But the camera noticed. Everyone noticed. Whoopi exhaled and leaned forward carefully, as though approaching someone balancing on a ledge. Oprah, when you say you don't know who you are without the fight, what does that mean? Oprah didn't respond at first. She stared down at the table, eyes unfocused, as if trying to track her own thoughts as they pulled her in different directions. The audience sat in a collective hush, as though even breathing too loudly might break the fragile moment. Finally, Oprah lifted her head. Her eyes were glossy, but not quite teary. It was the kind of look someone gets after holding everything in for too long. It means, she began, that my entire life, my entire identity, has been built around carrying others, bringing people hope, guiding them through their darkness, being the one strong enough to hold all the pieces together, even when the pieces weren't mine. Joy's tone softened. But Oprah, you've helped millions. I know that, Oprah interrupted sharply, though her voice wavered. And I'm grateful I could. But I've spent decades pouring myself into other people's stories. Their trauma, their redemption, their pain. And somewhere along the way, I forgot to check the cracks in my own foundation. Sunny leaned back, absorbing the weight of that. Are you saying you feel empty? Oprah let out a hollow laugh. Empty? No. I'm saying I feel used up. Drained. Like a well that everyone keeps drawing from without realizing it's drying out. The words hit the room like a slow-moving shockwave. The audience murmured, soft, sympathetic, unsettled. Whoopi's voice was calm, deliberate. Oprah, this isn't you being weak. This is you being human. Oprah's gaze sharpened. But the world doesn't want me human. They want me perfect. They want me polished. They want me inspirational even when I'm drowning. Joy frowned. That's not fair to you. It's never been fair, Oprah said, frustration rising. Every time I make a choice that doesn't match the world's idea of who I should be, it becomes a headline. Every time I set a boundary, people call it arrogance. Every time I protect myself, they call it distancing. She shook her head, breaths becoming heavier. I can't win. No matter what I do, I can't win. The audience let out a low, emotional murmur. Someone whispered, "Let her speak." Oprah continued, voice trembling but fierce. Do you have any idea what it feels like to wake up knowing the world is waiting for you to mess up? That they're waiting for one slip, one misstep, one imperfect moment to justify tearing down everything you've built. Joy's eyes widened. Oprah, no one wants to tear you down. Joy! Oprah snapped, slamming her palm onto the table. The sharp sound cracked through the studio. The audience jumped. One of the camera operators flinched. Whoopi's eyebrows shot up. Oprah froze, staring at her own hand as though surprised by her reaction. Then she closed her eyes, chest rising and falling faster. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm not trying to be angry at you. I'm just tired. Tired in a way that sleep can't fix. Whoopi reached out again, slowly. Oprah, you don't owe anyone perfection. Not anymore. Yes, I do, Oprah whispered fiercely. Because if I'm not perfect, then everything I've done, everything I've built gets questioned. My legacy gets questioned. My intentions get questioned. Sunny leaned forward, eyes soft. Oprah, your legacy is strong enough to stand without you carrying the world. Oprah shook her head. No, it's not my legacy I'm worried about. It's the people who twisted my image to fit their narrative. She swallowed hard. I've spent my life telling people to live their truth. And here I am, terrified to reveal mine. Joy tilted her head. Why? What are you afraid the world will see? Oprah turned her head slowly, looking out toward the audience, toward the rows of faces watching her with a mixture of awe, fear, and heartbreak. They'll see I'm not invincible, she said softly. They'll see I'm scared. They'll see I'm flawed. And they'll use that against me. The audience gasped. A few people shook their heads as if wanting to shout that they would never do that. Others simply stared, stunned, unsure how to process Oprah Winfrey unraveling in real time. Whoopi spoke gently but firmly. Oprah, strength isn't about never falling apart. It's about what you do after you do. Oprah closed her eyes, breathing in deeply. But what if I don't want to put myself back together this time? What if I just want to stop carrying the weight? Sunny's voice cracked. Then put it down, Oprah. You deserve peace too. Oprah opened her eyes. They were suddenly bright, not with tears, but with something fierce. Something that had been buried. But if I put it down, Oprah said slowly, then the world is going to ask questions I'm not ready to answer. Joy leaned in. Then tell us. Tell us first. What's the question you're most afraid of? Oprah hesitated. The lights felt hotter. The studio felt smaller. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears like distant thunder. She swallowed, lips trembling. The question I'm afraid of, she whispered, is whether I'm still the woman the world believes I am, or if I lost her somewhere along the way. A collective gasp rippled through the studio. And then Oprah, for the first time in her long and legendary career, looked utterly and undeniably unsure of herself. The icon was gone. The human being remained. And the entire world was about to see what happened next. For a long moment, no one spoke. Not Oprah. Not Whoopi. Not Joy, Sunny, or Sarah. The studio, the same studio known for heated debates, loud applause, and unfiltered emotion, felt frozen, suspended between what had just been revealed and what was about to happen next. Oprah sat there, shoulders visibly shaking as she inhaled a shaky breath, trying not to fully unravel. She wasn't Oprah the legend in that moment. She wasn't the billionaire mogul or the media powerhouse. She was a woman confronting the terrifying truth that she might have lost herself somewhere in the journey that made her iconic. And for the first time in decades, she didn't know how to move forward. Whoopi broke the silence first, her voice softer than the audience had ever heard it. Oprah, you haven't lost her. You're just meeting her again. The real you. And that's not something to fear. Oprah looked up, and her eyes glistened with a mix of vulnerability and disbelief. But what if I don't recognize her? What if I built a life so big, so loud, so demanding, that she can't exist in it anymore? Whoopi leaned in further. Then you rebuild. The world knows you as someone who lifts others. Maybe now, it's your turn to let someone lift you. The audience murmured, this time not in shock, but in agreement. A few people clapped softly, the sound starting timid, then spreading as others joined. They weren't applauding a celebrity. They were applauding a woman brave enough to break in front of them. Joy swallowed hard before speaking again. Oprah, people didn't fall in love with you because you were perfect. They fell in love with you because you were real, because you cared, because your heart was in every word you gave to the world. Oprah's voice cracked. And what if my heart isn't enough anymore? Sunny's eyes softened. It is, because your heart is the part of you that can't be taken by the cameras, or the headlines, or the critics. It's the part no one can twist. Oprah looked around the table slowly, as though grounding herself. The tension in her shoulders eased just slightly, and she exhaled in a trembling release. So what am I supposed to do now? Just admit I need help? Admit I'm tired? Admit I'm not okay? Joy nodded. Yes. Sunny nodded. Yes. Whoopi nodded. Yes. And then slowly, the entire audience began nodding with them. A wave of approval. A wave of permission. A wave of humanity. Oprah stared at them, stunned. For a moment, she seemed to forget the cameras, forget the expectations, forget the fear. All this time, she whispered, I thought that if I showed this side, everything would break. Whoopi took her hand gently. Maybe things need to break, so they can be rebuilt stronger. That was the moment Oprah cracked. Not explosively, not dramatically, but softly, like a dam finally giving way after holding back the world for too long. Tears slipped down her cheeks silently. The audience gasped, but not from shock, from empathy. Some cried with her. This wasn't entertainment anymore. It was collective release. Sarah Haynes, normally more reserved during tense segments, finally leaned forward. Oprah, what do you need right now? Forget the show. Forget us. Forget the viewers. What do you need? Oprah wiped her face carefully, hands still shaking. I need to breathe. I need to not be strong for a minute. Her voice broke entirely. I need to stop pretending I can handle everything alone. The audience erupted, not with cheers, but with raw, emotional applause. Not for a performance, but for honesty. Whoopi smiled softly. Then take that minute. Take 1,000 minutes if you need to. We are right here. And then, unexpectedly, the audience rose to their feet. A standing ovation, not for Oprah the star, but for Oprah the human. The applause echoed through the studio, powerful and unfiltered. Oprah closed her eyes and let the sound wash over her, the first true sign of release she had allowed herself in years. Joy, who often played the sharp, comedic voice on the panel, dabbed at her eyes discreetly. Oprah, you didn't lose the woman the world believes in. You just let us see the woman behind her. Oprah opened her eyes again, glistening with gratitude and exhaustion. I don't know what happens next, she admitted. I don't know how the world will react, or what they'll say, or what narrative they'll twist. Whoopi squeezed her hand. Then let them say what they say. Today, you told the truth. Your truth. And nobody can take that away from you. The audience clapped louder, some shouting encouragement. We love you, Oprah. You're human. You're allowed to feel. And then the moment that sent shockwaves across the internet happened. Oprah stood. Not with power. Not with poise. But with a kind of trembling courage that pulled everyone into her orbit. She looked out at the sea of faces and said, voice trembling, thank you for letting me be human today. The studio erupted, cheers, applause, emotional cries. The cameras captured every second. And within minutes of the episode airing, clips began spreading across social media like wildfire. Hashtag Oprah Unfiltered. Hashtag Oprah Breaks Silence. Hashtag The View Meltdown. Hashtag Let Oprah Breathe. News anchors dissected her words. Psychologists were brought onto talk shows. Fans defended her. Critics twisted the story. Thousands of viewers posted emotional reactions, recounting how seeing Oprah break made them feel seen themselves. And through the firestorm of commentary, one thing became clear. Oprah Winfrey had not lost her power. She had rediscovered it, not through perfection, not through control, but through vulnerability. And the world was forever changed by the moment she finally allowed herself to fall. What do you think about Oprah's emotional outburst on The View? Was it long overdue, or was it too much for daytime TV? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe to Talk Flair for more explosive, dramatic, cinematic breakdowns of the biggest moments in celebrity television. Hit that like button, smash the comment, and join the Talk Flair family for stories that pull you right into the tension.